Can I pick your brain on when you come from a review with a game like that? What platform is this, by the way, too?
This was for PC.
PC. Okay, so that actually is probably better for this question. What is your thought process on how do you tackle a game review where there is either a roadmap for improvements, or B, it's designated as early access? How do you go about rationalizing your initial review knowing what may or may not be coming down the road?
Okay. If it is clearly labeled early, we can go for Larsenals in a way.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, Larsenals at the time wasn't really sort of being spouted as early access kind of thing. It was a little bit. It wasn't. Either way, you're paying full price for the game. In my mind, if you're doing an early access title, I think the player is also the tester, and they're helping the game grow. So there should be, I think, a bit of a discount on the game for that. So got Larsenals. I was very lucky to get a early access with Oculus and some of the developers, and there was some major red flags. It was, don't get me wrong, we're all laughing, we're all having a good time, but it was like something's not right. BMS feeling sick. People are talking about feeling disconnected. I press reload and my gun sort of floated away and come back, and I'm like, what is this game? Like, this doesn't feel right. So me and Nathy like waited till the end, and we pulled them up, and we were like, this isn't right. This isn't right. Nathy was so adamant that this wasn't a VR game. He was like, this is not a VR game. This is a flat game you've made into VR. This wasn't. And he said, I think he said it to him. He was like, this was not VR originally. And they were like, no, it was. So I'm sort of like a day later, I'm thinking, I'm really worried that this isn't going to work out, and I really want it to do well. So I went out of my way and I emailed and messaged everyone I could on LinkedIn, on Discord from that team, because at the end of the day, I'm not massive. They're not going to really care about my opinion, but I thought if I fire it out enough, they might pay attention. In the end, I started like helping out, managed to tell them about immersive mode, which they called it, which is basically, they wanted to know how to stop people running and aiming. And I went, it's already been done. I said, Pavlov, onward. You put your gun down, you can run. You go to aim, you lift the gun up. Done. They turned that into something called immersive mode. And then they had like, so they've listened and they've changed and they've done loads of good stuff. But when I reviewed it, I made it very clear that I'm reviewing it as it is. And I had a lot of good fun with it, but there was definitely a lot of stuff. I think when there's people like you, me, and other people out there who have a lot of VR experience, I think a lot of us would be happy to go like, as a part-time job, I'll play test. I would love to. Like, personally, I end up doing it for free most of the time, which is probably why no one pays me.
Yeah, let's stop there real quick, because I think that shouldn't be understated. Like, can we just put into like a picture how ridiculous you just sounded there in a positive way? So this is the state of VR creators. Like, this is the state of us. We get in early access on these games, and you have someone like yourself, GT, who the hell is wasting all their time messaging everyone we can of this development team, trying to give feedback, because this is all we do and play, and we won't get paid for this. And even if we did get paid for it, it's VR content. We're not, unless you're pulling thrill seeker numbers, you're probably not getting paid much on any of this. Like, if you are, this is the state of the VR content creators that you don't see. You'll see sometimes, they'll get called for clickbaiting this, clickbaiting that. They'll be called out for this. And it's all this BS, but you don't see what goes behind the door with people like GT and others who literally just want to playtest and make the game better so the end user gets a better experience. I don't think that ever gets shared, or maybe it does, but falls on deaf ears.
I did a video a little while ago. It's not a breakdown, but I had a moment of,
I did watch that one.
I think I've had enough. And I was trying to work out in my mind why I've had enough. And there's so many different factors. And that was kind of one of them, because I would come up to this room and I'd be like, what's this? You go through emails. They're quite scary sometimes, because you start thinking to yourself, have I got time to do this? I've already got that to do that day. I've already agreed to do that this day, which is why I quit my podcast, because it was just more and more responsibilities.
Yes.
Because ultimately, obviously, I would love to be massive and do it full time, literally because then I'd have more time and I could concentrate more on what I'm doing. But yeah, so when it comes to I'd come up here for a day and I could literally play 3 games, record all of them, and never put any of them out, because all I end up doing is leaving feedback. He's going, oh man, this isn't right. Like, this is not right. You shouldn't probably do this, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, fair play to a lot of developers. They really do make a difference. Some developers, like Larsenauts or Impulse Gear, have since gone, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? You know, what, not paid, but can you have a look at this? Can you have a look at that?
Sure.
I made the credits on Sniper Elite, which is pretty cool, because I worked with them. Obviously, I don't think I'm a thing to say what was wrong with it when I got it. But at the end of the day, not everything I wanted to be changed was changed, but the primary stuff did get changed because it was so obvious to them. Well, not obvious. There's another thing as well I've seen. I remember a long time ago watching a PlayStation show, and they had Adam Orth on there.
Who's that?
Adam Orth, I think he was quite a controversial name in Microsoft somehow. Can't remember why, but he was with First Contact Firewall. And I was watching this show, and there was, what's his name? Oh, it's like the main guy there. I can't remember. He's the main guy. He's the main guy now at First Contact. But him and Adam were saying how Adam was playing Firewall in a certain control method. And he's obviously the biggest name there. They're a new studio, I'm assuming. And they're like, he's saying we should do it like this. But everyone else is playing the game and going, this does not feel right. And he said, thank God, the whole team or whoever it was eventually said to him, Adam, don't do it. It doesn't make any sense. Because he said, suddenly I realized how I'm playing this game wasn't right. So when sometimes I jump into games like Sniper Elite and I'll be playing it a certain way, they'll go, we've never seen anyone do that before. And I'm like, that's because I guess you have a team and you have a bubble, and that's where it all is, you know. And sometimes you need someone who's on the outside of the bubble to go, just to see, just to take a look, fresh eyes.
Yeah, I'm with that. What was that? Because I didn't particularly care for Elite at all. I have my problems with it. But what was the thing you tried? You gave him that feedback on that you played differently. I'm kind of curious.
Oh, it was the main one actually was the reloading mechanic, purely my fault. I'm not a sniper in real life.
You used your right hand every time, didn't you?
Basically, yeah. Yes, I'd have the gun and I'd bring it down. The ammo pouch would be here, and I think I would reach over, put it in, bolt it, and they're like, "Why did you do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Just it felt right." And they were like, "Well, that's not how it should be done." And I'm like, well, I'm just saying, man. Like, and initially the hands were an issue with the game as well, but that all got sorted pretty much. I think when it was released, the Steam version had like an older build or something.
I think that's probably why like Anton over at H3 loses his mind half the time, because you have he's a gun nut in a good way. Like, he really puts a lot of effort in making his guns as realistic as possible. I've watched his dev commentary on, you know, like he did one for a grenade launcher showing how the gun works, how the sights work, what he has to put in to make it work. Like, that was beautiful stuff. But then, like, I remember when Sniper Elite came out, constant people were streaming it, and I kept seeing the comments like, why'd you just reload it that way? You're supposed to keep the sight down range, reload. It's so funny how something so small like that has such a big impact, because people expect realism because it's virtual reality. And I just thought it was such an interesting dynamic that's what got people engaged, was the inaccuracies, not anything else going on.
Dude, they love to critique. People love to. I was playing for a laugh, Lawnmower Simulator, and most of the people in my stream were suddenly like groundskeepers. They were, you know what I mean, professional lawnmowers. And they said, no, GT, no. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just mowing. And they're like, no, straight lines. Someone's telling me to do it. And I'm like, for real, guys, like, it's just a game, but it means a lot to them. And just to go back on accessories, when I played Sniper Elite with the Pro Tube, I automatically bolted correctly. And I don't understand why. I even said it in my video. I was like, I don't know why, but for some reason, having this here, it kind of makes sense to me to do it different. And I don't know even how that makes any sense.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and Fireside Chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.